Hi everybody, what's up? I am Lady Stars and Fire and my real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for July 24th through the 31st. It's the end of July already. Wow. But on a higher note, I call it the healing messages because that's exactly what I asked for. I asked for guidance and counsel that will help any and all of us move forward in the most positive ways. Well, this is the last week of July. I said when July started that the number 7 basically brings to our attention its divine magic. And a lot of times when divine magic happens to help bring things forward in positive ways, it doesn't necessarily come in the most positive feeling and that warm fuzzy feeling. A lot of times there's some junk that's got to be cleaned out. This whole month there's been a flush out and we're still getting flushed out because of the eclipse season coming in. This is that divine magic, as well as Uranus is going retrograde in a few days, actually next week. And so we've been in shadow for a little bit. That has a lot to do with all of this energy that's been going on, that flushing out and those changes, as well as everything that you're having to let go of. You haven't seen me in the studio for a while. I want to stop for just a minute. You haven't seen me in the studio for a while because, to be honest, I've had some animals that had dug a hole and was living up underneath the studio. And because I know when I come in here, I'm waking them up because they're like skunks is what had been living underneath the studio. And I'm waking them up and making them go out when they're actually nocturnal. So I've been staying away from the studio. However, it looks like I might be able to start being back in here again unless I start hearing them knock on the walls because I'm waking them up. So if you don't see the studio, that would be why I'm not back in it for a while, because I'm working around the animals. Otherwise, yay, I finally got to come back to the studio. Anyway, back to the regular subject. For any and all of you people who do watch the videos, or if this is the first time you've watched the videos, I always say that I ask for Spirit to give us guidance and counsel that will help move us forward in the most positive ways. And that's what the healing messages are all about. I usually pull runes, which sometimes I go over if I have enough time in the video, or I make a separate video, or I just post it on social media. As well as I give you the astrology and the guidance that came from Spirit itself to help us move forward. That's what it's all about, basically. Finding the most healthiest way of living our life in a positive way. Now, with everything that I just said, I will be coming back about Uranus going retrograde here in a little bit, but I'm going to get on first with what Spirit has been telling me and giving me the signs of and whatnot. Every single time, like if you're just chilling out by the water and you pick up a stone, here's the best way I can explain what I'm trying to get at. If you pick up a stone and you throw it into the water, it's going to create a ripple effect. Doesn't matter if it's the lake, the river, the ocean. If you pick up a stone and you throw it into the water, you're going to get a ripple. Well, every single one of us create a ripple. Now the point is the ripple that we are creating a positive ripple that's good for us or a bad one? And this is what this week's kind of coming in about. This week's coming in about really really looking in and paying attention, having awareness to where the ripples we are sending out aren't the most positive, so that we can stop doing that, basically. This week is going to be very masculine in energy, very aggressive, and I've been told over and over again, Frankenmurr, Frankenmurr, Frankenmurr. However, you may want to use that. Frankenmurr can be for helping cleanse an area to a point, but it's also a lot about banishing negative energy or exercising negative energy or even evil, so to speak, or ego even. I am being given to use this Frankenmurr if it will help you this week. However, it also is a masculine and aggressive energy. So sometimes a masculine energy will work. an aggressive energy, a fire, passionate, powerful energy, like Mars, like the planet of Mars, will work. But sometimes you need to create bounce too. And in that case, you maybe, if you've got too much funky energy in the house, you may want to take some frankenmyrrh and like burn it in one room like an incense stick, and maybe sandalwood in another. My point is bringing in the same kind of dualities may be helpful, is what I'm being told. We are given the lion this week because the lion keeps running up to me. And what this is giving me, it's a white lion too, which is giving me the energy of the pureness of true power of white light, of the power of positivity and energy. But understanding what the lion truly is about. The lion is the king of the jungle. He's got courage. He's the one that's, sets it apart. It does bring me back to Bible verses of the lion as well. This is what they are telling me. However, this is the white lion. So this is not speaking to us of ego. This is not speaking to us of where that ego part of the lion's energy comes in. This is more of the king and his obligations and what he's obligated to have to do, as he is also in service by being the king, as the king of the jungle. So it speaks to us of having that courage to move forward in that positive way of what needs to be done. However, having compassion when we are doing it. I'm also being given the spider. The spider speaks to us of, plain and simple, the spider is speaking to us of reminding us that the web we weave. What is the web we weave? And are we weaving it properly? And are we weaving it for the right reasons? And that's the question. If you don't like your life, you have the opportunity to change it. Web. Create a new web, basically, is what the spider is telling us. But the spider speaks to us also of learning from our past and letting go of our past. And I put this in social media earlier today because the lesson that the spider is giving us is if you're going to weave a web, don't continuously weave a web in an area where you know nourishment cannot be found. Learn from your mistakes, move somewhere else, and create your web to where it will be helpful for you. You have to let go of what is no longer good. If you are still weaving from the past, all you are going to do is create the same. Just like if a spider is making its web somewhere where it knows it cannot get food, it's just going to make its web, waste all of its energy, and get no food. It has to know how to move so that it can create its now and bring that now into the future from the knowledge of what it's learned. I'm also being given the rattlesnake because I hear the rattling, which is reminding us, pay attention to what you are or are not going to strike at. Use your wits about it. It asks us, to pay attention. And I mean, it's not just the snake's energy. I'm getting the rattle, which is the warning as well. Pay attention to this awareness that you have going on this week and how it is going to react in the future for you. Which goes with the runes this week, because the runes first one that came up was Isa, which is stillness, but a whole lot more than stillness. I'll come back to that. I am being shown also frequencies, and this would do with the because I'm being shown frequencies, vibrations, and I'm being told that our very vibration, you've heard me speak of our vibrations and our frequencies, our inner and our outer world, and our whether our vessel itself is clean. Are we creating from clean energy? I don't bring it with me this time, but you've seen me put the vessels up that I used before, the little vials of water with the clear quartz in it, and the clear quartz is telling us that this is, the strongest, most powerful, we're clean, basically. And then I have the one that has the ashes in it, and you can't see the clear quartz anymore because it's full of all of egos, humans, funky junk and muck. And basically, and what I'm being told is is I'm being shown the different frequencies and the different vibrations. But what I'm being told is it moves more like sound waves that brings and creates our manifestation. And that is part of what makes your manifestation start to become tangible as well as non-tangible. Is what they're explaining to me. Just like I said, if you take a stone and you throw it into the water, it's going to make a ripple. But are you throwing the stone into the water from a peaceful place of your soul, or from a confused, anger, egotistical, fearful place? This all has to do with what they're explaining is that sound wave. I've said many times before, we are the vibrations that we create. And it's like a calling card to our angels. It's not like they can't find us, but if we are vibrating high enough and loud enough, and we are even on the inside and the outside, like last week, the frog was there for us to show us that what we have to create on our inside has to match our outside, or otherwise we're creating static. We're not creating a vibration that's clear to hear. And they're telling us it's the same thing. It's not just about what it's clear to hear or what it's clear to manifest, but in order for that sound wave to go out and pull that manifestation back, you have to make sure that your inner world and your outer world are even, are in balance, are reflecting one another. This is why I always say it's about your four: your emotional, your mental, your physical, and your spiritual. If they're not in balance, then they're not in balance. And if you're in denial and suffocating one of them, the others are going to become stronger, but you're still losing one of them. And that creates your wholeness. And without being honest and in balance, your wholeness is still out of whack. You can't just decide, I'm not going to deal with physical, or I'm not going to deal with emotional. It's making it duller and less strong, less beautiful, less of who you are. Don't let denial screw you up. Make sure that you are working with your four so that your vibration inside and outside can manifest and bring what you want to it. Send the right ripple effect out. Send the right stone energy out when you throw it into the water, is what they're saying. And they're telling me the main difference that we misunderstand when we start thinking about manifestation is we start thinking about, is it tangible? Is it something I can touch? Is it something I can feel? And we know when we're dealing with manifestation and wanting to move forward in positive ways. I just woke up a skunk, I think. And we know when we want to move forward in positive ways, we're told, to start not hoping, but to start already knowing that it is happening. Put it out there as if it did happen. Don't lie to yourself with dreams that you know are not capable for you to get to yet. I mean, you want to manifest properly, but you don't want to give yourself something that's not possible to happen like that. Okay? And the difference is when you are creating, when you're creating and you're hoping and you're putting faith into something, the difference of what makes it happen is, are you already able to see it tangible in your life? Perfect example. I have a girlfriend who's moving, and her and her family are moving to Hawaii, and she's already, I see us there. I already know it's all going to work out financially. Yeah, we got some issues while we get there, but it's going to work out. I already see it. I know it's all perfect, and I'm not paranoid in any way, shape, or form. I see the future. I am more or less, I'm already touching it. Versus her husband is in that paranoid state of, are you sure this is going to work out? And when they made it clear to me, you see the difference is, she already is able to touch it, even though it's not quite here. She can touch it. This is why she's already made it into the tangible area, where it's no longer just into realization, but it's brought itself into life, where he's questioning it, which is forcing him to have more trouble with it, is what they're explaining to me. Now, I'm also being given the mockingbird this week, and literally what I'm being given is, understand that our life is the mockingbird. What you put out is what will be mimicked back to you. So if you don't like the song, the life that is being mimicked back to you, it's up to you to change your own song, not the universe. The universe is only responding to you. So remember the mockingbird. Then I am being given also the twins. And because this took me a little while to realize if this was just for me or not. But when I get into astrology, it makes sense. The twins speak to us also about Mercury and communication. But it also, because the way they're giving it to me, it could be depending on who you are, what it would mean in your life. It could mean the Gemini sign in general. It could mean communication because it's the twins of energy of Gemini that we're dealing with. And Mercury has a lot going on this week. But it could also be that they are showing us the reflection of the twins of ourselves. Are you truly reflecting in and out? Are you truly coming out of denial and honestly seeing the true reflection? Or this could have to do with the twin flame in general. So depending on your life, it may mean that. I am being told also that a lot is going to be going on with your root chakra. In fact, it's your lower 3 chakras. But it's aiming for your root chakra this week. And that has to do with finally finding that comfort and security within your life as these changes happen. And I am being told to take action. The time for being questionable. The time for the contemplation of what if. That shit's done, is what Spirit is saying. And this is affecting the root and the sacral chakra as well as the solar plexus. And if we are coming into that understanding of we're moving forward, we're taking the action, we're capable, we have the power to make the decisions and start feeling comfortable and secure and just go for it, then we're going to start to get those in line. And if you're not in line and you're out of focus, if you're out of balance, if you're confused, if you're still in that contemplation and questioning what if and maybe I should and I don't know, this is what they're saying. We've been going through this. You know what is to be done. You know the action that has to be taken. Do it. Stop questioning. Do it. Is basically what I'm being given. And as I go into astrology this week, the very first thing is Mercury. Like I said, the twins, which speaks to us about Gemini in general. But Mercury is moving into Virgo on Wednesday the 26th. And I am being given a green... Sorry, I was having a conversation. I am being given a green and a turquoise. My hair is being moved by them. I'm getting a green and a turquoise energy, which is speaks to me of, definitely changes that are going on, but in a healthy nature. You want to make sure that the Mercury, when we're moving it into Virgo, because Virgo can very much be a healing situation. It is a finger finder for the points of things that are wrong. It easily points these things out. Mercury is going to be able to do that, but use Mercury wisely. Use your verbal skills wisely, your communication skills wisely, because it is moving from Leo into Virgo. And this, I'm being told, is going to be, about changes that are going to be brought up through this energy, especially when it's in the cusp. And turquoise is going to be bringing in healing. Like I said, it's about having the courage of the lion to speak up and do what has to be done, but the wisdom of the spider to know from past experiences how to do it properly and in the right way and right place. Again, it is moving into Virgo, and it will be moving into Virgo with Vista, which is already there. Vista is the keys to your hearth and your home. It is your soul's fire. So right there, these two are coming into healing within Virgo. Virgo is health oriented. Virgo is retentive. Virgo is all about duty and about service. It's the Virgin, so it does it right. Maybe a little anal retentively, but it does it right. And that is what Virgo is about getting in there with Vista and Mercury and getting that, your soul fire and that communication to come strong together. Now, for the first half of the week, Leo has 5 signs in it. Couldn't figure out what I wrote. For the first half of the week, Leo, the energy of Leo and the signs, which is your 5th house, which is your creative energy, as well as your energy of service to the world, to yourself, and your creative energy in general. This is also a lot of time where love comes in. Your arts come in as well. Your artistic ways, because it's that creative energy. It's book writing, it's music playing, it's sports, it's your compassion of the heart and soul, because it's the lion. I mean, you've got 5 planets here in the first half of the week, which means Leo is roaring. Plain and simple. Roaring. And it can be roaring in a very positive, good, strong, courageous, bold, loving, compassionate way. Or lion can be ego, and lion can be ripping your face off. Okay? And there's 5 planets there. In the beginning of the week, we have the North Node, which will be staying there. We have Mercury, which will be moving. We have the Sun and Mars there. Oh, we have 4 planets, and I was just saying it's the 5th house universally. So it's 4 planets, but still, you have 4 planets in one sign. That's a lot of damn energy, and that's a lot of power. And if you're using it in a positive way, that is awesome. Because even when it separates out, Mercury does, it's still connecting with Vista, and it's still close enough to where it's within those 10 points of energy to where it's still going to be connecting with anything that Leo's connecting with. So that energy is still is just full on and roar this week. So make sure you're roaring for the right reasons. That's what it comes down to being about. And our positive energy for this week is Mars and the Sun is speaking to Chiron. Mars is your defender. Mars is your warrior. Mars is your inner SWAT team. And Leo. And the lion itself. And it is sitting there pretty much right on top of the Sun, which is your core energy, your shine energy, but it can also be your ego energy. And it is speaking to Chiron. Chiron holds the keys to Can You Heal? Period. Chiron holds the keys to Can You Heal, and he's in retrograde, and he's pretty darn close to Neptune. So he's picking up Neptune's energy anyway, which is getting into that nostalgia. Again, it's getting into that nostalgia, learning from what happened in the past so that you can truly heal. Because that in order for you to heal from past wounds, you've got to go through Chiron. And Chiron is in retrograde. So he's in overdrive of sending you messages of how to heal. Is your warrior and your defense and your aggressive, positive fire energy that goes with Leo and the core of who you are you taking the time to listen to Chiron when he cries for you? Basically, because that's what he's trying to help you with. He's helping you get over this hump so that you could come in to what is coming up. Because we're coming into the eclipse season. All next month is the eclipse season, which means if you didn't get the memo to change, we're doing it now. That's what eclipses mean. Let go and change. And it's universally. It's outer worldly. It's bigger than us. You're not going to get a choice. So you can either get on board with the change, get on board with, your own soulful healing and learn the lessons and respond with it in a thankful way, or you can be forced into it. Because that is exactly what the eclipse is about. The eclipse asks you, are you going to get on board or do I have to force you? And that's what this whole next month is going to be about. Because if you're on board, it's not going to feel forced. It's going to start coming into play. You're going to start being able to bring your manifestation into fruition and make it tangible. Or are you fighting it the whole damn way? Basically. And then again, next month is where Uranus actually, I believe, starts to go into retrograde. Right now, Uranus is in shadow, which is the last week before it goes retrograde. Uranus is in Aries. It's a starter point. But let me remind you, this isn't just a regular retrograde. Uranus is your independence, your individuality, and your inventive self. In Aries, which is the original universal first sign, the beginning. It's starting to figure out truly what it is that you're not getting about your independence, your individuality, and your inventive self, and figure out how to put that fire in your ass to make it happen. Now, with it being in retrograde, it is coming in and kicking in the door and saying, this is the shit you're not actually showing people. This is the shit you're not actually living up to. This is the shit you're letting eat you up inside when you don't choose to come forth and be forthcoming with it. The reason it's coming out so hard is Uranus moves every 7 years. So we've had 7 years of this going on, and it's moving into Taurus, I think, in May. So this is the last chance for many of us that we're going to get before it makes its way through the whole 12 signs and 7 years all the way around through all signs. This is your starting point. This is that point where you're starting to step into who you are. And it's giving you every intention of being forthcoming with who you are. And if some of that even needs healing, at least acknowledge it. Plain and simple. I mean, this is a very big shadow and retrograde for Uranus. And it's going to be in retrograde until, I think, mid-January. So we've got 6 months of whatever we've been keeping inside that we're not honestly being forthcoming about who it is that we are, our independent self, our individual self, and our creative self. You're not going to be able to hold that shit back anymore. It's coming up and it's coming out. So this is the time to realize this is a major change that's going to be happening. And it's happening right at the same time as the eclipse season is when it's starting its retrograde. That is a major event, okay? Now, we come back to the positives. You have Vista, the Moon, and Mercury are speaking to Uranus. That's why I went through all that, which is in shadow. So your communication, your fire is your communication, which is Vista. I mean, your communication, which is Mercury, which it could also be dealing with the two faces of who you are, the two sides of yourself, which you're not bringing up and out of yourself. Like I said, I was given the twins as well. So this could be reflection. Is speaking in a positive way about Vista's sacred fire. Sacred fire of who it is that we are and what is important to ourselves and our home and our family and the home that is us. As well as our emotional self. Because it's the Moon, Vista, and Mercury are speaking to Uranus. Which is everything I was just talking about. On your independence, your individuality, and your inventive self. This is a very positive thing. Again, if you are using the lion in a positive way this week. The courageous lion from within. Now, the challenges this week is the Moon is in Virgo for part of the week. The Moon is doing a lot of talking this week. I mean, it does a lot of talk because it moves every 2 days through another sign anyway. But this week, the Moon is really speaking to the other planets and bringing out a lot of emotional energy as it goes through these different signs. Virgo, like I said, is all about duty, is all about organization, is all about figuring out what's not working and how to make it work properly. It's anal retentive. It's health oriented. So, I mean, in a sense, it's all about healing and figuring out how and what it is that needs to be done. Well, the Moon is jumping in here as we start the week, and it's speaking to Neptune, Chiron, and Saturn. All of them are in retrograde. So your rules, your boundaries are in question of, am I willing to try and experience and try something new? Because that's what it's doing when it's speaking to Sagittarius. And it's speaking to Neptune, which is your actual magic, your ability to make your fantasy come into reality. And the ability to truly learn how to create it in a tangible, positive way? Or are you stuck in your icky, funky muck of ego and human junk that is clogged up inside of us that's keeping us from doing it positively? And in fact, we're not moving forward. We're just continuously moving over the same circle, like the spider said. If you keep building a web in a place that you know you're not going to get any food, well, that's your own fault. You should be learning your lesson. And this is what Neptune is about. Are you coming into creating and using your magic for all the right reasons, or are you living in the daydream and you refuse to come out of it? That's what this is about. The moon is sitting there in Virgo trying to help you heal these. But they're going to give you, the reason it's a challenge is because they're going to give you reasons to question it, to see if you can pass ego. They're going to pop up this week, plain and simple. The moon then moves into Libra, right next to Jupiter at the time, and that's all about creating balance by showing you where balance is not. And it's talking to Pluto, which is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration, which means change, because Pluto is in retrograde too, which is speaking to us about bringing in Jupiter's abundance and knowledge into Pluto's death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. The moon is getting its emotions in here to make you face yourself and find the balance that you have to do this. Plain and simple. Then you've got Mars and the Sun are also speaking to Uranus. And this one is a more challenging one. Mars and your Sun is coming into, well, like I said, this is the lion's roar. Are you allowing your anger, your frustration, your defense system to run away with you and make your core, make your shine, make the person who you are show the madman inside? Because it's speaking to Uranus. Are you bringing it up and evaluating who you are and finding out if it's somebody you want to be, or if you need to work on healing it, or are you letting the madman out, basically? And if so, that's up for you to learn. I am being told that you need to ground yourself this week, because it is definitely physical directions within our life, within our physical world itself, that is changing and making new changes, making new directions that are coming into play. And like I said, if you've got to be grounded. You can't just fly off the handle and roar like a lion and rip things apart and then not deal with the consequences. This is what they're saying. Ground yourself and get right before you speak. And all week, Venus, which is in Gemini, which is your not your emotions, but your senses. It speaks to you about what you like, what you don't like, what feels good, what don't feel good. And it's amplifying itself because it's speaking to Chiron, which is also speaking to Lilith and Saturn. So in Gemini, it's very much going back and forth with the messages of the two faces of the twins of who we are, of our shadow reflecting out. Basically, and it is speaking to Chiron, of the wounded healer inside that needs to be healed from those from our shadow side, from what it is we don't want to see of our own reflection. And it is speaking then with Lilith and Saturn. Saturn again in retrograde is all about taking the chances and let's try to change these new boundaries and rules. And let's take a chance with them. And Lilith, though, is going to be fighting you on it of, no, I'm not changing. So it's about spiritual maturity. That's what it is. It comes about soulful spiritual maturity. And are you doing it in a mature way, or are you just turned yourself into a mauling lion? Are you still acting like an egotistical bitch, a narcissist? There's a difference between doing what's right for you as well as what is right. Okay? It's not about doing what's right for you and damn everyone else. It's about doing what's right but doing it in a loving way and a positive way. That's being in service to yourself as well as to others. And knowing if you're acting like a narcissist is the important part here. Because all week, the moon is going to be giving us, it's going to be lending us its intuition and its areas of need for balance. Now, I will hit the runes because I've made it through some of this a little bit quicker than I thought. Isa for this week. I did not bring the runes out. I just brought the book. It looks like an I or a 1. Isa speaks to us of water, of ego, of the ice itself. It is a challenging and frustrating time or a time that you need to turn inwardly. It focuses on what is either stillness or a power point of concentration and stasis. It can be blocked energy. It speaks to us of both intense concentration and detachment. You need to have both intense concentration and detachment to work with Isa. Meaning you need to be able to step away, step back, and really truly reflect and look at it from an honest point of view. It indicates a person that may have stopped growing, or it is showing a person who is truly coming into their own mental control. It is control, self-mastery, movement in time, elevated consciousness, control over our own mind, our own conscious extension of what is perception. Basically, perception right there. That also deals with what they were saying with the vibrations, the ripple in the water. What perception are you putting out there? Then I am being given Manez. Manez looks like an M with an X through it. Manez speaks to us of man, humanity, people, air. It is the world of people. Intelligence, creative skills, and ability. It's focusing on awareness of ourself and our one place within the scheme of things. It speaks to us of our own self-realization through the ordering of our everyday daily tasks. It shows the person who is seeking the true path, or else it shows the person who is feeling victimized and lost. And if you're feeling victimized and lost, it's because you're still in denial about something you're not coming with yourself about, so that you can't find the healing to come into your power and get on your path properly. It speaks to us of self-realization, our consciousness, finally being able to find ourselves as the hero, the seeker, the personal quest, the awakening into your own one place within this world, belonging of your own divine energy, manifesting of both your human and your divine energy, the acceptance of that twin nature. Again, the twins. Belonging of divine manifestation and human and positive twin nature. Human and divine twin nature. It is realization that comes from only point blank playing the part you were meant to play. It is, it reminds us that it is found within the individual small things within the everyday life. And then I've got to go to Tawaz speaks to us. Tawaz and Sawilo are the last ones. Tawaz is, it is the god, the star, the polar star, the sky, and the order. It is air. It is the mineral world. It speaks to us of honor, justice, leadership, analysis, and rationality. It focuses on the matters of adherence, principle of victory, through wisdom and social order as well as justice. It points to the need of a seasoned approach this week, people. A seasoned approach. It also speaks to us of our social order, our law, our justice, our polar star, our personal sacrifices, and the notion of the independence that we all have, and our order within the existence to which it is that we all are a part of. It's not just all about me, we all are a part of it, is what this is about. It's speaking to us of cooperating, in divisions, even though it may be into separate working units, and to necessary protocol, as well as oath taking and methods, courage, planning, precision again. It speaks to us also of military action, victory in battle, and using objective judgment. Social discipline leads to self-discipline. Do not let the lion roar. Make sure that you are coming out with a proper approach. You don't want to come out like a raging maniac. Basically, Solilo speaks to us of the sun wheel. If we are making our way through these runes, Solilo is bringing us the promise of realizing that the clear direction is being set, as long as you are bringing it out in a healthy, positive way. If you brought it out in the screaming maniac of the roaring lion, well, whatever you created is what you created. If you're doing it in a positive way, Solilo is reminding you that this points to the clear direction, the end of the blockage, finally starting to come into the journey and finding our way. Or it could be also pointing to a situation where there may be a journey over water itself. It is the rune of navigation. It speaks to us of the presence of teachers and counselors coming into our life, setting goals, guidance, pursuing the path, the spiritual navigation, reminding us that the light is the sun. The sun brings us the light. Are you finding the light within the darkness to move forward in the right way? This speaks to us also of our own self-worth, our positive course of action, and hope, success, achievement, recognition, and honor. But of all things, don't forget, education is positive and of good fortune. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Just make sure you keep your lion in check. See you next week, and we start the eclipse season. Bye, everybody.